Breaking news this morning has the world standing on a knife's edge. While Prime Minister Mark Carney is deep in the heart of Mumbai, meticulously weaving the future of Canada's economic sovereignty, the geopolitical map has just exploded. We are tracking reports of Operation Epic Fury, a massive U.S.-led military offensive targeting the Iranian regime's nuclear infrastructure and high-ranking officials. But this isn't just a military headline. It's a moment of blood and consequence. 3 U.S. service members have been confirmed killed, and 5 others injured in this high-stakes escalation that threatens to set the entire Middle East ablaze. From the other side of the globe, Mark Carney didn't hesitate. He didn't wait for the dust to settle or for a consensus to form back in Ottawa. He acted with the decisiveness of a leader who understands that, in a volatile world, silence is a fatal weakness. Carney's statement issued from India was a strategic thunderbolt. Canada stands unapologetically with the Iranian people in their courageous struggle against oppression. We reaffirm Israel's right to defend itself. And crucially, Canada supports the United States in its mission to prevent a nuclear-armed Iran from holding international security hostage. This is the birth of what Carney calls values-based realism. It is a fundamental, structural departure from the passive, wait-and-see diplomacy of the past. Carney is treating the world exactly as it is, not as we wish it to be. He is navigating a geopolitical chessboard where he must simultaneously secure a historic trade deal with India to escape Donald Trump's tariff threats, while standing shoulder to shoulder with Trump's military objectives in the Middle East. It is a breathtaking display of strategic agility. Carney is proving that the new Canada can walk and chew gum at the same time, managing a national security crisis from a trade mission 10,000 miles away. The traditional political daylight between the Liberals and Conservatives is vanishing as Carney occupies the high ground of national interest. The world is paying attention to Canada's new vanguard. Stay with us as we break down the secret strategy behind this shift and why Mark Carney is taking the ultimate calculated gamble. The geopolitical landscape shifted beneath our feet at 2:30 a.m. last night. The world woke up to the reports of a massive, CIA-assisted Israeli strike on Iran's top command, an operation the Pentagon is now officially calling Operation Epic Fury. This isn't just another skirmish. It is a decapitation strike aimed at the very heart of the Iranian regime's nuclear and military leadership. But the cost has already been heavy. 3 U.S. service members have made the ultimate sacrifice, with 5 more wounded. In Washington, the drums of war are beating louder than they have in decades. From a podium 10,000 miles away in Mumbai, Mark Carney had to react, and he had to do it with surgical precision. He didn't have all the intel, and he didn't have the luxury of time. Yet his response was a masterpiece of strategic containment. Carney made it clear: Canada supports the United States in preventing a nuclear-armed Iran. Period. He didn't hide behind the vague de-escalation rhetoric we've seen from Paris, Berlin, or London. Instead, Carney drew a hard line in the sand, aligning Canada's values with the existential security of our closest allies.
Canada stands with the Iranian people in their long and courageous struggle against this oppressive regime, and we reaffirm Israel's right to defend itself. Canada supports the United States acting to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon and to prevent its regime from further threatening international peace and security. And the Canadian government urges the protection of all civilians in this conflict.
Did you catch the nuance? Carney is supporting the objective, but he is keeping our boots off the ground. He explicitly stated that Canada is taking no part in the military action. This is the Carney pivot. He is giving Donald Trump the moral and diplomatic cover he needs on the world stage, effectively neutralizing any narrative that America is acting alone. By doing this, Carney is buying Canada a seat at the high-stakes table of the New World Order without spending a single Canadian life. But look at the political earthquake this has caused back in Ottawa. For years, the Liberal government was defined by a cautious, often hesitant approach to Middle Eastern conflicts. Not anymore. Parliamentary reporters are already noting that there is less and less daylight between Carney's position and the Conservatives. He is effectively out-hawking the Hawks. While the NDP and the old guard Liberals are left clutching their pearls, Carney is moving in lockstep with the realities of 2026. He knows that to secure the trade deals he wants in India and Japan, he must first prove that Canada is a serious security partner that doesn't blink when the missiles start flying. This is the dawn of values-based realism, and it's about to change everything. Mark Carney is not just a prime minister. He is a philosopher of power. He has introduced a doctrine to Ottawa that is now being tested in the fires of the Middle East and the high-stakes boardrooms of India. It is a concept he first unveiled at Davos, and it is called values-based realism. To the average observer, it might sound like academic jargon, but in practice, it is a cold-blooded, surgical approach to global survival. It means Canada will no longer sacrifice its national security or its economic heartland on the altar of hopeful diplomacy. For over a decade, the Canadian government operated on a philosophy of sunny ways. The idea that if we were polite enough, virtuous enough, and talked about rules-based orders long enough, the world's bad actors would simply behave. Mark Carney has officially declared that era over. He looks at a despotic regime in Tehran and doesn't see a partner for dialogue. He sees a nuclear threat that must be neutralized. He looks at a protectionist administration in Washington and doesn't see a bully to be lectured. He sees a volatile ally that must be managed through strategic alignment. As the Sunday Scrum analysts noted, Carney is taking the world as it is, not as we wish it to be.
Yeah, I think, he, in his Davos speech, he quoted Alexander Stubb, the head of NATO, talking about values-based realism. And I think that this is sort of a good example of that. I mean, it's easy to go on air and say, any initiative to get rid of a regime, a despotic regime that has, killed thousands of its own people, is trying to build a bomb, anything to destabilize their efforts or get rid of that regime is.
Gary Mason hit the nail on the head. Carney is channeling the grit of NATO's top brass. This isn't about virtue signaling from the sidelines anymore. It's about geopolitical insurance. By standing firmly behind Donald Trump's decision to strike Iran, Carney is making a massive, calculated gamble. He knows that Trump is a leader who values loyalty above all else. If Canada is the one ally that doesn't blink, the one ally that stands in the gap while France and Germany call for de-escalation, it creates a massive amount of credit in the bank of Trump. This is the ultimate leverage. How can Trump slap a 100% tariff on a partner that is providing him with the diplomatic and moral cover he needs for a war in the Middle East? Carney is effectively trading a statement of support for the protection of the Canadian auto industry and the prairie farmers. He is walking and chewing gum on a global scale, securing our trade future in Mumbai, while ensuring our security alignment in Washington. It is a breathtakingly pragmatic shift that has left the NDP and the old guard liberals in a state of total confusion. But in Carney's world, the only thing that matters is the result. And right now, the result is a Canada that is finally playing the game of giants with its eyes wide open. While the missiles are flying in the Middle East, Prime Minister Mark Carney is walking a treacherous, high-stakes tightrope in the heart of Mumbai. Make no mistake, the number one priority of this government right now is trade. Everything else, including long-standing diplomatic grievances, has taken a back seat to the cold, hard reality of economic survival. Carney is out there knocking on every door, and in the shadow of Donald Trump's 100% tariff threat, no door is more vital than India's. We are talking about the most populous nation on Earth, a $4 trillion economy that is hungry for exactly what Canada has to sell: energy and uranium. But to get this deal done by next December, a timeline that is nothing short of a diplomatic sprint, Carney has had to perform a breathtaking 180-degree turn. Just a year ago, Canada was in a state of open diplomatic warfare with New Delhi over allegations of a state-sponsored assassination on Canadian soil. Today, the Carney Doctrine has effectively wiped the slate clean. The government has put forward anonymous senior officials to tell reporters that transnational repression is no longer a concern. It is a stunning pivot that has left national security experts and the Sikh diaspora in a state of total shock.
Rosie, I mean, clearly the biggest priority of this government right now is trade. I mean, that is clearly the number one thing on their agenda, and everything else kind of takes a back seat to it. I mean, given the U.S. threat to our economy. So Mark Carney is out there knocking on every door, and in some respects, there's no door that's more important right now. I mean, perhaps other than China, as in terms of diversifying, than India, the most populous country on earth. They have a lot of things that they need that we sell, including energy. So there's a big deal to be had there for Canada. A province like Saskatchewan, that they've got uranium that they're prepared to sell. There seems to be a deal on the table there.
Yeah.
I think Scott Moe is licking his chops at that. So, I mean, there's a lot there that is very attractive.
Gary Mason is calling it like it is. Carney is trading sensibilities for sovereignty. While the RCMP continues to issue duty to warn letters to Sikh activists in Vancouver, claiming their lives are still in danger, the Carney administration is focused on the big picture. They are betting that a massive trade deal will provide the ultimate guardrail that once India is economically integrated with Canada through uranium and energy, they will have too much to lose to continue interfering in our democracy. This is the value-based realism we talked about. Carney isn't being soft on India. He is being surgical with Canada's future. He has decided that the need to diversify away from the United States outweighs the immediate concerns of national security. It is a brutal, pragmatic calculation. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand's visible annoyance at media questions in Mumbai says it all. The government doesn't want to talk about security concerns while they are busy securing the bag. Carney is betting that the Canadian public will forgive the diplomatic shortcuts if it means the economy remains bulletproof against the storm coming from Washington. This is the ultimate test of the Carney tightrope. Can he balance the blood in Iran and the uranium in India without falling? But there is a secondary earthquake happening right now, one that is shaking the very foundations of the Parliament buildings in Ottawa. For years, the political map of Canada was a battlefield of polar opposites. On one side, you had the sunny ways diplomacy of the previous Liberal era, and on the other, the hard power rhetoric of Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives. But under Mark Carney, that map is being redrawn in real time. We are witnessing something truly unprecedented: the total disappearance of the daylight between the government and the official opposition on matters of national security. Pierre Poilievre has spent years building his brand as the ultimate champion of the Iranian diaspora, standing on protest lines and calling for the total collapse of the despotic regime in Tehran. When news broke of the death of the supreme leader during Operation Epic Fury, Poilievre was quick to declare it justice for the Iranian people. Usually, this is where a liberal prime minister would call for restraint or nuance. But Mark Carney isn't a typical liberal. His statement from Mumbai was so strategically aligned with the U.S. and so unapologetically hawkish that it has effectively left the Conservatives with nowhere to run.
And, you talked about conservative reaction. I think it's also important to point that Jason Kenney, also said that it was a surprisingly good statement from Mark Carney. So, when I'm saying there's less and less daylight between both positions, it's obviously Pierre Poilievre's statement was stronger, it was longer. He's not the prime minister, but at the same time, I mean, those positions are surprisingly similar in, being on side with the Iranian people and, wanting to topple this.
Surprisingly similar. That is the sound of a political masterstroke. When even a conservative heavyweight like Jason Kenney is praising a liberal prime minister's foreign policy, you know the game has changed. By adopting this values-based realism, Carney has performed a surgical invasion of the conservative high ground. He has effectively neutralized Poilievre's most potent attacks. How can the opposition criticize a prime minister who is out hawking the hawks? This isn't just about Iran. It's about a total consolidation of the Canadian center. Carney is isolating the NDP on the far left, leaving them as the only ones clutching their pearls over de-escalation, while he builds a broad, bipartisan coalition of national interest. He is proving that he can protect Canadian values abroad while protecting Canadian jobs at home. Carney is making himself unattackable. He is showing the world, and specifically Donald Trump, that Canada speaks with one, unified, and very loud voice when it matters most. Poilievre may have the slogans, but Carney has the podium, the plane, and the power. And right now, he is using all of them to leave the competition in the dust. This is the dawn of a new, uncompromising era for our nation. Mark Carney has shattered the image of Canada as a secondary player on the world stage, replacing sunny ways with the cold, hard logic of values-based realism. By standing firm with our allies against the Iranian regime while simultaneously outmaneuvering the trade giants in Mumbai, the Prime Minister has demonstrated a level of strategic mastery that Ottawa hasn't seen in generations. He is rewriting the rules of engagement, proving that Canada can be both a principled defender of global security and a pragmatic champion of its own economic heartland. While Washington watches with newfound respect, and the domestic opposition finds itself breathless and outpaced, Carney is charting a sovereign path that refuses to blink in the face of crisis. Canada is no longer a satellite of anyone's orbit. We are the architects of our own destiny. If you want the sharpest analysis of the geopolitical chess moves shaping our future, you are in the right place. Like this video to support our global mission, share it to spread the word, and hit that subscribe button to join Canada Insider. And now I want to hear from you. Has Carney finally found the right balance between trade and security? Let me know in the comments with the phrase, Carney, the realist leader. Thank you for watching Canada Insider. Stay informed, stay proud, and stay strong. Canada is leading the way.